Bro, it's like 2 in the morning, but I just woke up super early and I was just thinking I had this weird ass dream where I was just dating some girl and I was being taken advantage of, and I done had a few experiences in my life where that shit happened for me in real time, where, you know what I'm saying, I was putting in more effort than what I was getting from the female that I was dealing with. And, I learned from those experiences, man. And that's the best thing that you can do from any negative experience in life is you just learn from it. As long as you learn from it, then you're good. It's not a bad experience, You have moved on with your life and you learned. Like, you have learned, and that's the most important thing that you have to do in order to just live, bro. But I basically off of that, I just kind of was in my head about how just the dynamics are completely different in dating after the industrialization period, because there was literally a time where women didn't even go to work, bro, and it was just dudes. It was just the man's responsibility to get a job, to work, and basically take care of everything. So with that being said, women basically needed us because they couldn't live on their own. But after industrialization, we have all these factories, we have the women's rights movement. And not to say that there's anything wrong with that, They want to be in the same fields as us. They want to be able to make the same amount of money as us. They want to move like us, which is not necessarily a good thing when it comes to dating, because we're two different things. Like, men and women are different. They're different, and there's no other way around it. You can't say that we're exactly the same because we don't live through life the same and we don't operate the same in mindset. We just don't go through life the same. It's just not the same. And anybody who says that we do is just lying. But with that being said, back in the day when you were dating, it must have been so different because, like I said, they needed us. They literally needed us. So not to say that you could get away with more, but it was just a little bit more respect because they couldn't even work a job. They couldn't even, you know what I'm saying? And that's always the thing that I feel is the most important in any relationship. Or, bro, even when I'm just casually fucking with somebody, bro, it's just respect. And as soon as I feel that I'm being disrespected, I'm always just walk away, bro. And that's one thing that I had to teach myself as a young man, just growing up and dealing with women. Because personally, I didn't really have too many masculine figures in my life. So there was a lot of things I kind of just had to learn on my own from just dating, talking to women, so that you just don't fall down. You just fall down a deep rabbit hole when you decide to get into it with the wrong type of women that just kind of tears you down and knocks you off your focus and everything that you're working towards. And it's just not good for you, bro. It's really not good for you. And yeah, like I said, I came from a little bit more of a feminine family. So nobody really taught me these things, bro. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm on here just spreading my wisdom, spreading my words. And that's really what I realized. And that's the biggest thing is just respect. The biggest thing is just respect, appreciation for your time and your effort of you even being there. You know, society is so flipped, as I was talking before, after, you know, women are able to do all these things. So they take us for granted now. They take us for granted now because they don't, truth be told, they really don't need us. They technically don't need us anymore. We technically don't need each other. You know, I find it funny how the world has advanced. So we have just less community and it just gets more dispersed as we go on. Especially moving into the future because we got all this AI and these robots that are just doing everything for us. So we're not even connected anymore as humans because we just have everything done for us, you know? You don't even have to go to the grocery store anymore to meet people. You could just type in on your phone, have somebody delivered to my door. I don't ever have to socialize or go out the house. You know, I could just sit inside and goon all day and I don't gotta talk to nobody. Like that's the sad reality of what we live in now. But as long as you're conscious of it, you just have to know how to navigate and like move around it, you know what I'm saying? So So everything is just flipped. The dynamic is so flipped. And I met a lot of dudes too that they just be doing whatever. They just be doing whatever they want. You know the saying happy wife, happy life. I never believed in that. I always thought there was something wrong with that because it's like what about the other partner? Like shouldn't it be some shit where both partners are equally happy with each other? You know, they work out their problems, they resolve their problems because nothing is perfect. But doesn't that make more sense? Like that makes so much more sense to me. I don't know who came up with that saying, but that happy wife, happy life. And I met a lot of people, a lot of dudes like that, just so they could keep smashing, bro. Or like just I don't know. I don't really understand it. But for me personally, I think as a young man, you know, you should always put your self respect first, and you should never put somebody else's happiness or feelings above your own. And I think that the relationship will just go a lot more smoother and you will have a lot more self-worth inside if you carry yourself like that. And that's what I found from my own experience because I used to be on the other side of the coin, bro. I used to be on the other side of the coin, you know, especially coming from my family where I used to be around. That's the mindset that the men in my family were thinking. And I don't know, that stuff, it doesn't work out, bro. It doesn't work out because with that you're putting that other person on a pedestal, and this could really go both ways, honestly. You're putting that other person on a pedestal and they're just kind of looking at you like, oh, whatever, this person's just around, just do whatever I say. You know, you can't just move like that with no boundaries. You're just gonna get walked all over on, and people are gonna just fuck with you, just mess with you, push your boundaries, bro. You can't let that slide, bro. You can't let that slide, because people just gonna do you wrong in your face, and you gotta just have more self-worth for yourself. Just believe in yourself, stand on respect, boundaries. You know, if there's certain things that you don't tolerate in a relationship, you gotta pretty much make that clear with your actions. If it gets to a certain point where you have to just straight up call out BS, like, nah, I'm not rocking with that, then, you know what I'm saying, you gotta do that. But